The other day I was reading a book called The Shack by William P. Young. Now, it's a fictional story about a man named Mac who goes to the shack where his young daughter was murdered, and he wrestles with God over her death. And in the book, there is a part where God explains to Mac how he sees the world. And God said this: "There are two powerful forces in the world, one of light and one of darkness. The one of darkness is led by a being we call the adversary, or the evil one. His name is actually Lucifer, which means light bringer. But he turned his back on all that he had been created for, and chose to become Satan, which means accuser. He is like a fallen angel who was full of pride and arrogance, and rebelled against the order of heaven. Ever since then, he and all those who followed him have been waging war against the forces of light. They attack anyone or anything that represents goodness, truth, peace, love, and joy. They try to keep people from experiencing the abundant life that God has planned for them. But here's the good news: Satan doesn't win. He never has, and he never will. You see, while Satan fights against everything that represents the light has no problem with darkness. In fact, the light exposes how unattractive darkness really is. And the more the light shines, the more powerless Satan becomes. Now, the author of this book, William P. Young, he wrote this fictional story based on the book of Revelation, which describes the role of Satan and evil spirits in the world. The dragon of Revelation 12 is identified as Satan, the ancient serpent who deceives the whole world. He wages war against God's people, attempting to destroy the church and oppose Christ's kingdom. And then Revelation also speaks of unclean spirits, demons that perform deceptive signs and gather the nations for the final battle at Armageddon. Now, these spirits are described as agents of chaos, deception, and rebellion against God, and their only purpose, is to lure humanity away from truth and align them with darkness rather than light. Now, what are we to make of these descriptions? Well, some Christians believe that these are spiritual realities, that there are real forces of evil that operate behind the scenes of human history, and they have a real effect on the lives of real people. Then other Christians, they see these as symbolic. They see these descriptions as symbolic representations of the powers of sin, oppression, and false systems that oppose God. And still, other Christians view these as prophetic, as a prophetic vision, pointing to a time in the future when Satan will intensify his war against God and his people before his final defeat. But whichever way we view these demonic forces, whether we see them as spiritual, symbolic, or prophetic, the message is clear. Evil is active in the world, but it is not ultimate. Satan may rage, but his time is short, while the dragon and his angels are ultimately cast down. And in the end, evil is destroyed forever in the lake of fire. The cosmic battles of Revelation remind us that life is more than flesh and blood. It is a spiritual struggle. Yet we are not without hope, because, as Revelation proclaims, we overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. The final word is not Satan's power, but Christ's victory.